Hi, I'm Steph from Simplicity Happens, and this tutorial will walk you through how to create pumpkin clip art and pumpkin activities for your classrooms or for your little ones at home. So I hope you enjoy this activity, and let's get started. Hello and welcome. Let's get started creating our pumpkin. The first thing we'll do is go to Insert, Shapes, and select the teardrop shape. Go ahead and click and drag, making sure that that circular portion is very circular at the bottom here. At the top point, we're going to select the orange circle, and then we're just going to pull it inward. Then we're going to turn and align center. The next step is to create our color for the pumpkin. So let's get a nice bright and bold orange color, and we'll outline the pumpkin in gold. We'll also want to thicken that outline. I like 2 1/4 points. The next step will be to insert shapes and select the arc symbol. We're just going to pull this down and drag it down a bit, and then also widen it so that you can make it as curvy as possible. And then we're going to go ahead and align it to our pumpkin. Once you have it aligned, go ahead and copy and paste. Rotate and flip horizontal. We'll take that line to the other side. All right, now go ahead and copy and paste again. And bring another line in. Copy, paste, rotate horizontally. And bring this line in. All right, next we'll go ahead and select the lines. I'm going to outline them in gold as well. And I'd like to also thicken the lines. And then go ahead and group the entire shape. The last task will be to go to Insert Shapes, and we're going to create our stem. Let's go all the way down to Stars and Banners and select the 6-pointed star. Pull it out. We're going to go ahead and select a nice green color of your choice. I like this one. And I'm going to create no outline. I'm going to pull it right up here on the pumpkin and align center. Next, I'm going to select the orange circle at the top of the 6-pointed star and just pull it inward to thin it out. Since I moved it, I'm going to align center. And next, we'll go ahead and insert the stem portion. So go ahead all the way down to Flowchart and select the Flowchart manual operation on the right-hand side in the first row. I'm going to go ahead and create that, turn it around, and then also create it in the same color. I'm going to put it right up here and align center. Next, go ahead and group it all together and just pull it over here because we're going to select Shape Effects, 3D Rotation, and we're going to come down here to Perspective and select the Relaxed Moderately. And there you have an adorable pumpkin. Go ahead and align center. And then of course, don't forget to save as a picture onto a special place in your computer. Now let's create the pumpkin in black and white. So using the same colorful pumpkin, go ahead and copy and paste so that you have two. You're going to want to save this pumpkin because we're going to go ahead and change this pumpkin up. So because I already have this saved elsewhere, you can either duplicate your slide to create a new one, or just copy and paste it to another blank slide elsewhere. The first thing we'll do is we're going to select the pumpkin, go up to Shape Effects, Preset, and under No Presets, we're going to select None. This will allow us to go in and make our changes. The first change we're going to make is just to click on the 6-pointed star and delete it. The next thing we'll do is go into Shape Fill and select white, and then Shape Outline and select black. I'm also going to reduce the weight of the outline to 2 1/4 points. It's going to make sure this stem is also on there. Great. Now what I'm going to do too is just kind of move the stem over and make it a little bigger so that it's nicely aligned with these two lines. And then what I'm going to do is come down, and some of the lines that I had created from earlier are going to be brought down just a tad bit more. So just go ahead and align your lines to the pumpkin nicely. Okay, once you have that completed, you're going to go back into Shape Effects, select 3D Rotation, and under Perspective, let's go back to that Relaxed Moderately and click on that. And now we have a nice pumpkin. And of course, you can save this as a picture onto your desktop. Remember, of course, to always keep your originals in kind of your little scrap file so that you can always come back and modify them as needed. So next, what we'll do is we'll start creating some fun worksheets for the classroom or for your little ones at home. So hang tight and I'll be right back with that tutorial. Okay, the next thing we'll do is create our pumpkin worksheets for our classroom or for our little ones at home. So I went in and saved this as a picture on my desktop. And the nice thing about that is the image will stay the same shape and it won't lose any of its edges or kind of look a little goofy. So that's the nice thing about saving it as a picture. Let me just show you the difference. This one is not saved as a picture. So if I try to go ahead and resize it, it's going to look like that, which looks really funny. So it's always important to save it as a picture, but of course to keep your original, because your original will allow you to make fun changes to it as needed. So the first thing we can do is go ahead and create a worksheet with some pumpkins. And what you could do is do a following directions worksheet. So this might be kind of fun. You can say insert text box. And we could go up at the top and say 1, color the biggest pumpkin orange. So if you want to make one of the pumpkins really big, can put that one in the middle. This one a little bit bigger. So that way you're working on following directions with attributes. Okay, then you could do number 2, color the smallest pumpkin yellow. And then 3, color the medium sized pumpkin white. So there you have 3 different directions, and you can work on sizing and colors. The next activity, I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this slide, would be to label pumpkins by color. So maybe you want to do a cute little pumpkin picture. So here you could go into Insert, Text Box, put the shape fill in white, and maybe you want to start to label the pumpkin certain colors so that your students or little ones can work on coloring and becoming familiar with the words. So we could do yellow. Do brown. And green. And of course, you can always create more pumpkins with different colors. So that's another activity you can do. Another activity might be just counting pumpkins. So this is kind of fun. You can do a pumpkin stacking worksheet or a scissors and glue, where you just stack the pumpkins. And if you want to make them in different sizes, you know, how many pumpkins can you stack? And then also work on counting. And then, of course, going back to the sizing again, you could also work on sizing from smallest to largest or largest to smallest. Now, the last activity I have is a sequencing story activity, and I'm going to show you how to do that next. All right, so this activity includes the colorful pumpkins, and you can make an adorable story using the pumpkin background scene and also your clip art people that you make. And if you're interested, I'll go ahead and post the next video from this video as the clip art people if you're interested in learning how to make clip art people. So the first thing we'll do is we'll go to Insert, Shapes, and we're going to select the rectangle. And then we're going to go ahead and do that again. So we're going to just stack 2 rectangles on top of each other. One rectangle is going to be our background sky. I like to outline it in black and have a thick outline, because I like to cut these out sometimes so that my students and little ones at home can have little sequencing cards. The box below will be green. and then just outline in that same weight, which I have 3 points. All right, and then the next thing we can do is make a little pumpkin patch scene. If your pumpkin that you bring in is hiding behind the rectangle, you can just go in and bring it forward. But in the meantime, we can just create a really nice little pumpkin patch scene. And I'll show you, you can send this pumpkin backward. Make them in different sizes. I'm just making a fun little pumpkin patch scene at this time. Once you get your pumpkin patch scene completed, you can then add one of your clip art characters into the story. So I've decided to create one about a little boy who visits a pumpkin patch looking for the perfect pumpkin. All right, so the next step in the sequencing story is to create the next scene. So what I did was I grouped all my pumpkins together in addition to my background scene. But as you can see, I did not group the little character in there. And that's because I'm going to reuse the character and position the character in different ways. So I'm going to copy and paste my character, bring the character over. And in my story, I'm going to have him pick up pumpkins and talk about the size of pumpkins. So I might say, first, the boy finds a small pumpkin, but it's not the perfect pumpkin for him. He wants to keep looking. All right, and then this scene, I just moved some things around and I decided to kind of put a little smirk on his face because he's gonna try to pick up this pumpkin, but it's just too big. So we could say, next, the boy finds an awesome pumpkin, but it's just too big. He can barely pick it up. It's not the perfect pumpkin for him. All right, and then in this last scene, I want the boy to find the perfect pumpkin. So I'm going to copy and paste him into this last scene. So we'll work on first, next, and last. And I'm going to use just the right sized pumpkin. So we'll say a medium sized pumpkin is the perfect pumpkin for him. And in order to get the pumpkin grouped, we're going to ungroup the little boy. And this is where things get a little tricky. But as you can see, I'm bringing the arms and the hands forward. and I want him to be holding the pumpkin, so I'm going to send it backward. And that is perfect. All right, now you can go ahead and print it out like this and it'll look really nice. But if you want to group the boy together, right now he's completely ungrouped, and this is where it gets a little tricky. You have to go back in and select everything. And sometimes it's hard to select everything. So right now I'm having a little bit of trouble selecting the shirt. I think I had it that time. There we go. All right, so I think I have everything grouped there. Whoops. It looks like I forgot the collar. As you can see, it gets very tricky because you have to account for everything. And I also think I forgot the arms there. So you have to go in and group everything. And then that way, good. See, the little boy has the pumpkin, he's grouped together. And then you can even save this as a picture. So in the future, you don't have to worry about going in and grouping and ungrouping. But just remember, if you want your character to be holding something, you have to ungroup everything, bring things forward, send things backward to make it look really nice. And then everything has to be grouped together, and you can't forget anything, or else it won't look good. You'll notice that that one thing is missing. So you kind of have to just play around with it until you get it. But that's how you do it. And so we could say, finally, the boy found a medium-sized pumpkin, and he was able to hold it and carry it, and it was the perfect sized pumpkin for him. The end. So that's a cute little story you can create, or create one similar to that now with this awesome clip art that you have created. So just to kind of go back through, you could say, you could do first, next, then, and last, where you say first, a little boy visits a pumpkin patch. Next, the little boy finds a small pumpkin, but it's not the perfect pumpkin for him, so he keeps looking. Then the little boy finds a huge pumpkin. He can barely pick it up. He really likes it, but it's not the perfect pumpkin for him, so he keeps looking. Finally, the boy finds a medium-sized pumpkin, and it's just the right size for him. He finally finds the perfect sized pumpkin. He goes home and decides to make an awesome jack-o'-lantern. So what you could also do is then make it kind of fun. Put a little cloud up top. So he's creating a little think bubble. And then you could keep a pumpkin here and then just put a little face on the pumpkin. Maybe do a triangle shape for the nose. No fill. And then grab that little crest for the smile. Again, no fill. Yeah, so you could do something like that. So that's a cute little story that you can create for your students or little ones at home that you can use for sequencing first, next, and last, or first, next, then, and last. I hope you've enjoyed this pumpkin clip art tutorial and activities that you can use in the classroom with your students or your little ones at home. If you are interested in more fall clip art and activities, you can check out my Fall Apple Tutorial 1 and Tutorial 2 video on the Simplicity Happens channel. I'll go ahead and link that video as well as the Clip Art People video, but those can both be found on the Simplicity Happens channel. I hope you've enjoyed this time, and I'll be back next week with another clip art video. Have a great day or evening, and I'll see you next time. Bye.